Hi, welcome to the BMW Welt Museum in Munich, Germany. I'm really excited because I'm doing an entire car tour across Germany. This is my rent. That's not it. It's an Audi A6. I originally got a 3 Series station wagon, and I was a little worried that I would have wanted the 3 Series over this because actually that particular 3 Series was an M340i, which is way faster than this car, but I've driven an M340i before on a very long road trip. I drove from Fort Lauderdale to Boone, North Carolina, which was about 12 hours, and it started to get a little uncomfortable, especially the seats. Audis, on the other hand, though, they are incredibly comfortable, and I'm going to be driving to Stuttgart tomorrow, which is like 5.5 hour drive, and I think this thing will just eat up the miles. Plus it's a diesel, so it's a little bit more fuel efficient, and I'm also going to be driving some cool stuff later on this trip. But I'm pretty stoked that I got an A6 Estate, especially because my dream daily driver is an Audi RS6 Avant, and so to have the baby version of that car is pretty cool. And I might make a review of this car. We'll see. I'm not 100% sure though. But let's head on over to BMW of Welt. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Welcome to BMW Welt. This building was opened in 2007 and it's meant to showcase the latest and greatest BMW models while the museum focuses on the history of BMW. This building is a work of art on its own, and in person it is breathtaking. This place though in a way reminds me of a shopping mall only because there's many different places to eat and to buy stuff. This place the entire time I was there was bustling with people. Okay, let's go over some of the cars that are in here, starting off with this very interesting color combination on the new 7 Series, which I think is absolutely hideous, but the interior in my opinion makes up for it. Speaking of new cars, this is the new 5 Series, and I actually wasn't sure how I felt about it in pictures, but in video, I actually think it looks pretty good. What I also think looks very good is this beautiful X5M facelift in this beautiful Isle of Man green. Not beautiful though, the new M2, specifically the rear end. Gosh, I think only a mother can love that. I don't think this color is helping it though, not that it's a bad color, it just is not helping the design very well. The manual transmission though is always welcome. What's not welcome is this hideous front end on the M3, which I've ranted way too much about already, but man, I do wish we would get the touring version in the US because wow, I want one so bad. There's also some Rolls-Royce models in here, which some people might ask, well, why the fuck are there Rolls-Royces in a BMW building? Well, BMW actually owns Rolls-Royce and they've owned them for quite a while. Rolls-Royce uses BMW V12s, they also use the BMW iDrive system and share some other parts. Most parts though are bespoke to Rolls-Royce, and the cars are still made in Goodwood. Speaking of cars, this particular Rolls-Royce Phantom extended wheelbase was absolutely stunning. The spec on this thing was wild, and you do not see the extended wheelbase versions very often. Okay, now let's check out the BMW Museum. The BMW Museum is a very different vibe to the Welt Building. With being much more closed in, there are ramps that continue until you get downstairs. This museum does a great job at showcasing the history of BMW as a brand. There are engines displayed from many of BMW's DTM race cars, as well as BMW jet engines, and yes, BMW originally made aircraft engines. BMW's first ever product was a straight-six aircraft engine named BMW Ila. BMW started to make cars and motorcycles, but during the war, the main focus was on jet engines. BMW then started to have a reputation to be making fun to drive sports cars and came out with iconic models such as the 3, 5, 6, 7, and 8 series, and then earning the title of the ultimate driving machine. There's also some BMW race cars displayed throughout the museum, and on this wall is BMW's old legendary V10 F1 car, which I really wish BMW would get back into, and this is actually where the development of the very unreliable V10 in the M5 and M6 came from. This BMW, by the way, is actually what influenced the design of the hideous front end of the new M4. This though I think is way better incorporated within the design. Speaking of design, here's a body shell for the E63 Gen 6 series from the Bengal era. One really cool exhibit was showcasing this G20 3 Series model made entirely out of clay. When a car is being designed, there is an entire life-size model made out of clay to give an idea of what the design is going to look like before they manufacture it. Once you get to the ground floor, you start to get to see some of BMW's most iconic models, One of those being the Z8, designed by Henrik Fisker, who also designed the Aston Martin DB9 and the Fisker Karma, well, hence his name. There's also one of my favorites, the BMW Z1, which was just such a weird car, and the doors were just some of the coolest things I've ever seen. There's another exhibit here showcasing some of BMW's legendary M models, including this absolutely stunning and incredibly rare M3 GTS, as well as the first ever BMW supercar, the BMW M1. This room showcases arguably one of BMW's most important models, the 3 Series. The 3 Series has been iconic for so many years and has been a very accessible way to get a very fun to drive practical sports sedan from BMW, and BMW showcases up to the E91 3 Series in this particular exhibit. There's also an entire exhibit dedicated to BMW's motorcycles, and I know nothing about motorcycles, but I do know that BMW is an extremely well-respected brand in the industry, and it's really cool to see the history behind the brand, especially when it comes to their motorcycles. And also, the exhibit itself was absolutely gorgeous. Also showcased here are some of BMW's concept cars. One noting is the BMW i8 concept, which I do think is one of the few concept cars that the production version really does look like the concept car. Great work BMW on that. I think that car has aged very well. Speaking of cars that have aged well, look at this thing. The Elvis BMW 507. And that is the BMW Museum. I know I did not cover everything, but I hope you all enjoyed seeing this beautiful place and potentially learning something along the way. I know I have not been as active lately as I've been very busy with school, but I promise I have much more content from Germany and some other aviation content coming to the channel. I would like to thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.